right, I think we're rolling. Just gonna send the link out. All right. Let's see if we got anyone popping in here. All right. I'm gonna send this link. And I'm going to send it to the Kickstarter group. Let's see. We'll see if anyone's able to join. If not, that's totally fine. I can just talk player expansion stuff. See, I still haven't quite figured out the top-down camera. My phone's just not connecting on it, so it's kind of a bummer. If you guys are jumping in the chat, make sure to say hey so I know who's here. Let's see. Oh, hey Amanda. How's it going? All right. Let me see if I can figure out this top-down camera thing. Because if I can do it, then I'd probably do a playthrough, but it's being super annoying. I got my phone on a top-down mount, but it's just not doing its normal thing. Normally it will constantly ping that it's trying to connect, but for some reason it doesn't want to. Let's see. Let's see if I can try this. Desk view camera. Let's try that. Sorry, this is kind of some dead space while I'm trying to figure out how to get this on here. Nope, that's not working either. That's totally fine. All right, so I'm just gonna pull up the rule book for the player expansions, just to kind of talk through what we got there, and then you guys can just ask some questions. I'm going to be doing probably another stream later this week too, where we will for sure do a playthrough, whether it's me doing like a two-handed player expansion, or if it's going to be, if I can find some people at the right time. Obviously it's really hard to get everybody to show up for something, around the holidays, because everybody's traveling and all that fun stuff. Hey Daniel, welcome. Nice. But yeah, let's start rolling with this. If I go to this view, so we're currently at 470,000 funds raised, which is awesome. I think we're going to be hitting that stretch goal for the next beast pretty soon. Maybe this week. That would be pretty cool. All right. Let's jump over here to the player expansion. So if you guys ever wanted to reference this on your own too, this is posted on the campaign page. So if you guys find that rulebook link on there, it's also, I don't think it shows very well on the mobile app, but there is a table of contents that will show up if you're on the desktop. I don't know how to make it show up on the mobile, but anyways, the rulebook's on that table of contents if you wanted to kind of quick scroll to that. And then player expansions, this page that we just kind of finished up here, not finished, but just uploaded into the rulebook. It's on the last page of the rulebook for right now. I love all the ducks. Nice dudes. Yeah, so I think a lot of you guys in the Discord community have already seen this. I kind of showed this off a little bit for like a preview slash like edits checkup for the whole rulebook as a whole. We haven't run it through all of the normal editing processes yet. So we have editors lined up. We have translators. We're still kind of working out who's going to translate it, but there's going to be lots of people kind of putting hands onto this rule book. So currently, this is like just me and a lot of local proofreaders, and then also the Discord's given a lot of great feedback as well. So if you guys aren't in the Discord, if you guys pop over there, that's a great place for providing any of that input. All right. So the player expansions, this was something that honestly wasn't planned for. So in the last year development, I started kind of thinking through this. We've been developing CBs for the last 3 years. But this was a constant question that people had was, I love this game, but like my gaming party is always bigger than two. And while we knew that most of the people we were trying to target like play 1 to 2 player games, like that's the most we can get to the table, we did design it first with a thought of a solo or duo game. But after like lots of play testing, people were like, "Oh man, this would be so fun with like tons of people involved." And I worked out like tried some different things along the way. The first thing everybody thinks about is like the big boat kind of thing, like the big long boat. But for various reasons with balancing the game, that would just kind of be, it would take away, it would diminish from some of the beasts and their powers and the really nice and tight balance we have within the game. But when I started thinking about how if we introduced new boats, that everybody has the same boat, 1 to 2 players per boat, so they still kind of have that tight space to work within, and beasts are kind of like swarming really tightly around it. I realized that if we had multiple player boards and then we shared the same map, that would actually be a really good way for the experience to kind of like be enhanced with more players, while hopefully not making the playtime huge, because it's kind of simultaneous play. So when you are playing with the player expansions, you're setting up 1 or 2 extra boats. So there could be up to 3 boats set out on the table. And it's pretty cool because there's a lot of different matchups too that you can do with the Vikings. Since they're all asymmetric characters, you can really pair up in really creative ways. Whether it's just you want to be like sailing a boat with your wife or your partner, whoever. That's one thing. Like you can shift it around the table, but then your Vikings also obviously have their own unique abilities that kind of synergize with each other in really different ways. So lots of just replayability in that sense, like with all the players being out at the table too. A lot of the main interactions are going to be when you're sailing close enough to each other, you can still attack beasts around other boats. And so some characters are really strong with their ranged weapons while others are not. So I think the balance is going to be really fun to see, as we're going to continue play testing this even after the campaign as well, just to make sure everything's dialed in. But I'm really excited to see what that comes out to look like. But with sharing the map, I think was the most exciting part, because it is a natural balance to like a fleet of Vikings sailing together. Hey Steve, welcome Jester, welcome Brent. Hey guys. So yeah, as you're sailing as a fleet together, naturally you're going to kind of be crossing some paths. Just because the map itself is pretty tight. You look at it and it's a pretty big grid of different depths and all these things, and different rough waters, different currents. There's also the fog, which are kind of the gray spots on here that you just don't know what the depths are. But primarily with the rough waters that kind of stop your boat speed, or currents that kind of direct you in a specific you know direction in the water. It makes for sailing as a fleet kind of challenging, because you're going to have to be crossing over the previous paths that you've created in the water. And whenever you do that in sea beasts, whether you're playing as like just a single boat or with multiple boats, if you ever cross over a previous boat path, you're going to be drawing three beasts because you have stalking beasts that are constantly on your trail, which adds a lot of excitement for at least the playthroughs I've seen and that I've played with the player expansions. Typically, you're going to have one boat that's going to be getting walloped, and the other one's going to be trying to figure out how can I help this other boat. We can manage probably like one or two beasts, but the other boat could end up with four beasts around it really quick. So the challenge is, balancing out like who's going to be sailing first, who's going to take the safest path, and you're going to want to kind of keep alternating that, like based on like one boat's going to take the heat, and then you'll try and solve that problem altogether. Or if you've gotten separated, then it's kind of like how do we get back to like the same area because we want to help them out a little bit. So I guess I mean I can look more into the actual text we have here. I don't know if I can move my nope, that's gonna do something different. If I move myself over here, I don't know if this does it live, but we'll see if it goes through. But I mean, the objective of the rocky waters and bloody waters sailing with the extra boats, there's two modes of play. So there's a cooperative sailing, and then there's also a race for Hersir, which was their like a title for like a warlord leader or just a community, like a very strong leader in their community. So with the cooperative version, it's very similar to just all other sea beast play modes, which is you're just trying to survive and deliver the cargo and collect your beast bounties when you get into port. But the voyage would end not only when you get into port, but when any one boat would sink. So you can't let any one of your boats sink to do this successfully. So everybody's kind of vested interest in staying afloat. Obviously, when you go over to the competitive mode, that completely changes, and you are kind of more hoping that other people kind of start dropping off, slowing down their boat with lots of boat damage. But yeah, I can actually just read this. So the race for Hersir. So this is the variant competitive play. A dispute breaks out among the tribe members over who should rise as the new Hersir. Your people are in desperate need of a strong leader, and you seize the opportunity to prove yourself worthy. Enter the perilous race across the sea, guiding your boat to port while slaying as many beasts as possible to claim victory and the title of Hersir. So, with the scoring of this, the boat that reaches port first earns an extra bonus of 20 silver, kind of incentivizing this race across the ocean. And then the other boats incur a 5 silver penalty for each additional sail phase they are not, that takes them to return to port after the first person arrives. Specifically that, like, some people were initially saying like, oh, that seems like a huge downside. But hopefully everybody's kind of showing up to port really similar times. And then also this kind of prevents people farming. So like if people know for sure they're not going to be the first into port, there is a bit of a loophole if there wasn't a penalty to arriving first to just stay out there and just keep fishing for beast bounties. So that penalty is there just to kind of incentivize you got to get in at some point. And the penalty also is not prohibitive of still doing that. So you could still risk going to, like, say the abyss and taking on an extra legendary beast in order to try and get that bounty and come into port as the hero still. So if you arrive first, it doesn't guarantee a win. because all of that comes down to at the end of the voyage, each boat will tally up their silver by adding all their beast bounties, their crates, the valor, um, and then subtracting any of the voyage costs. So that would be shields that are missing that need to be replaced, any water damage that's been on the boat, um, or I can't, and just time at sea too. Um, and then yeah, the boat with the highest total silver after scoring is declared the victor and the new Hessier. So that is pretty cool. Um, let's see. Uh, Steve from Co-op Guild is saying, I feel like this game could work as a 2-channel simultaneous stream, each player doing their own thing, but also being able to help. Yeah, that would be sweet. If you want to do some of that, I could I could send you another copy. We could do some. Actually, that would be really fun. Maybe I will send you another copy, and then you and I could do a player player expansion like voyage together. That would be super cool. Um, yeah, because that's actually another challenge just from like the streaming side of things with like the player expansions, is like the top down cameras like have to be kind of like focused on each player board, and the current setup I have is not like perfect for multiple boats as well. It's kind of like a tight, like I can show the map and the boat pretty well, but that would be super fun. Steve, I'll send you a message after this. Maybe we could do something, even if it's after the campaign. That'd be pretty fun. Let's see. Brent's asking, will the new expansion maps cater somehow towards play in any way, or just more solely expanding the normal map? Does a bigger map make more sense and room for multi-boat play? That's actually a really good question. So what I'm thinking with these extra maps that we just unlocked at like the 450,000 is that they are going to be I'm trying to tailor them to be really good for the multi-boat expansion, but also very approachable for like just a solo campaign mode as well. So I can kind of share with the Rocky Waters expansion specifically. I'm thinking a lot more obstacles in the map. So I mean, Rocky Waters makes sense, like lots of protruding rocks everywhere, and then also some currents that kind of wrap around in weird ways. Which that will add challenge because when you hit different currents or strong winds, it could push you into those obstacles, and then also make it really tight for sailing with multi boats. So like you might almost try and be kind of like a classic, I don't know, like a movie scene where like two boats are kind of like sailing together or at war with each other, and there's like an obstacle they got to like break off, and then they'll come back together. So that's what I'm kind of thinking for like the Rocky Waters one, is like a lot of just obstacles and like tight currents, probably a lot of shallow water too, but probably just lots of beasts in there. And I'm still working out if it's going to be one port or two ports in that area as well. I'm kind of leaning towards the two ports, so then it adds another short route as well. Because one of the things that the current map doesn't have a whole lot of is a lot of the shorter maps or shorter routes. That the short routes are really great because it's fun for like a quick play kind of thing. You can get on and play for like 15 to 20 minutes and then do another voyage if you wanted to. But I think having more options there will be pretty fun. And then let's see. Parker's got another duck. Nice. Steve's asking, do the expansion maps connect to make a single super huge map? I haven't quite fit them together exactly yet. So I'm planning on one being for sure to the north. The whole right side of the map is pretty much land, but there are certain places that I could connect it to. So I think, actually, I suppose, yeah, we do have like an area that could be connected over here. or on this side, or the north. The bottom is kind of more mainland, but like just because I have the legend right in here, so we'll see how exactly it might connect. But my hope is that it does connect, so that you can still cross over from these ports into the new ports. Um, that's for sure a main focus of mine. Um, Amanda, look at Steve talking himself into a new copy when we don't even have one. Well, Steve had a copy for a little bit and then he passed it on. But I'll have to. I mean, Steve, if you want to do that uh, multi boat split stream playthrough, that would be pretty fun. Um, okay, Eric saying, if I understand the competitive play or cooperative play, the boats can share the same location. If two boats share the same spot, can't they crush can't crush beasts between the boats, forcing the beasts to attack each other. Oh, that's kind of cool. Currently, I'm keeping them separate. Um, I did have an idea of like introducing a new dice that is like 1 through 12 or 1 through whatever, that's like a new location around each boat. Um, it didn't really work out that way, but I am going to find some ways that beasts are going to be able to move between boats unpredictably. But if you are in the same location with people who have like beast manipulation, so like the boatman can hook a beast and he can move it one space. So I'm going to make a rule where he can specifically pull a beast from another boat to his boat, or vice versa. Actually, it would probably only make sense coming to his boat. Um, so yeah, that's definitely some like hitting on that interaction will be really fun. But yeah, let's see. What else did we cover? Oh, so sailing as a fleet. So kind of on that topic, when you guys are on the same location, I'm calling it the same area because locations. I'm using terminology for like the spots around the boat. So that would be. Let me see if I got. Be easier if I had a top down thing, but so the locations would be kind of like any of these spots around the boat where the beasts go. Any positions on the boat are the positions that Vikings can take in the boat. I'm going backwards right here. So those would be positions, and then areas are going to be related to the spots on the map. So that would be the same area. I'm trying to keep those kind of all separate terminologies, so it makes the rule book a little bit easier. But so whenever your boats are in the same area, you're going to get some bonuses for being together. Um, one of them is being that all Vikings gain a +1 bonus to their attack rolls. Um, so that was kind of from the idea of, when you're together in a gang of boats. I mean, you have a lot of confidence because you're feeling pretty safe. You have a lot of buffers around you, so it just kind of gives you an elevated purpose for sailing tight together. And then you can also move between boats using the move action to jump onto the other boat. But that would be primarily for like if you needed to like help out with repairs and like they were really struggling. If you ever wanted to swap partners too, like if somebody like unlocks a rune ability and they're like, hey, this would actually jive pretty well, or say the druid is getting strong against a certain beast type and there's a beast like of that type around another boat, maybe it makes sense to swap, just so she can do the melee hits instead of just ranged. There will be a lot of reasons to swap boats. And also different Viking counts on the boat will also change the speed. So that's kind of the section over here. So if there's ever one Viking on the boat, you gain a +1 speed. So if you're running a boat solo, you're going to get a boost. 2 Vikings is no change from your boat speed tracker. If you go up to 3 Vikings, you start losing speed. So you're going to get a -1 boat speed if there's 3 Vikings on. If you get all 4 Vikings on the same boat, then it's a 0 boat speed. It's just going to neutralize it because it's just too much weight for that merchant ship to sail on. But let's see. So this is not really a bonus kind of thing, but if you are in the same area, and one of the boats pulls an event card that's like a strong currents or winds, or whatever, that's kind of like an environmental, like there's going to be storms as well. That's going to impact all the boats in that area, even if they've already drawn beasts, which will be devastating, but they will also get pushed to whatever space that is. And if they have to draw new depth cards based on that event, um, the event card will tell you if you have to draw new cards for that area or not. But everybody would have to draw new cards if that is the case. Let's see. So, yeah, with scoring too, there's going to be a different scoring level for all the boats. For the cooperative play, we're thinking that it will be kind of a collective score, because you're trying to take all the cargo to a specific port. But I think the most fun thing that will come from these player expansions with doing like a quick play version of the game is going to be those bounty board missions. I showed that off, I think might have been last week or the week before. But there's going to be different mission cards that are tailored towards quick play. So it'll say you start at this port and you got to deliver some cargo at this port or haven, and then you need to do a final destination over at this haven. And it could be as simple as just like delivering cargo, but then it could also have different bonuses for like pulling different beast types, beast bounties, like have better exchange rates, or you have to like meet a minimum criteria. And then it also can show some negative or some added challenge to the to your mission with different storms along the way, or maybe certain beasts have different buffs, or maybe you guys have like stumbled upon a curse that it makes it a little bit more challenging and interesting. But that'll be a fun way to switch up the gameplay here. I'm just getting swarmed with ducks on the on the chat here. I think it was was it Leviathan's idea was the rubber ducky event card. I can't remember who originally came up with it, but it's gained quite the following. And if you guys have any questions along the way too, just kind of shout them out in the chat. Oh, thanks, Matt. Matt says this game keeps getting better and better. Can't wait to get it on my table. This is going to be epic. Yeah, I hope so. I was just mentioning in the Discord that like I'm just super excited for this game to be out there in the wild, because I want to hear like all the sea legends. Like you get a unique story every time you play too. Like there's, even when you do terribly and you sink, it's a story. And I think it would actually be really fun to like I was just thinking about this today, but once we do deliver the first batch of Sea Beast games out there, if people wanted to write in their stories like of their voyage, like put the flavor text within it, like that's kind of the fun part of this game, is like it gives you the mechanics for what's happening, but you can kind of say like I've always enjoyed whenever I miss an attack roll, I just come up with some like random like thing that like maybe I just slipped on the deck and I just whiffed it kind of thing. Like I don't know, you can come up with your own story like around what's happening. And so it would be really fun to see like what people come up with like creatively for how they tell their tale of like their voyage. And then we could maybe like feature like the top 3 in like a follow-up campaign or something like that, because I hope to keep reprinting this too. Like if people are liking it, I want to keep making content. So I already have plans for beyond this too, so we got to keep it rolling. But let me know if you guys like that idea or not. But Nilo says, I think at this point the only way you could get out of this is making one of the companions in your theoretical add-on a bloody duck. Uh, yeah, for like getting out of the rubber duckies. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm getting peer pressured into it, but I won't promise it. I don't know. Corey's already going to be like working on so much after this campaign that I would feel bad tossing that on there. And like, what if the rubber duckies are the thing that's just kind of like makes him go purely insane because he's drawn so many beasts? I don't know. Tell me what you think. Um, Sea Beast Tales, the new Discord channel. More ducks. I know. I know. The never-ending voyage. Yeah, we could pull vibes like that. Uh, okay, let's see. The other thing that's kind of cool about this player expansion when you guys are not on the same area is you can still attack beasts around other boats, but with a -2 disadvantage to your rolls, your attack rolls, for each space that you are away from the other boat. So if you're like basically in an area adjacent to another boat, then you would only have the -2 to your roll. But if you're like further away, like maybe 3 spaces, you have a big disadvantage. But it could be like a game saving, like the archer just like launches an arrow like way over the ocean just to get that killing blow. Like that would be amazing. So definitely wanted to leave it open for opportunity there. Um, and then probably like the last really big thing about the player expansions is just the introduction of items, being like your starting loadout of items. It's pretty minimal. You're going to be able to choose just one item at the beginning, but these are kind of tools that can help you in during the voyage when you kind of need to break the rules a little bit. So the towing rope was one really specific just to this expansion. When the boats are in the same area, they can tie their boats together and then allows them to move together without triggering a stalking beast kind of thing because they're going on the same line. The only downside to it is that they would get a reduced speed of 1 from the maximum speed from the boat that has the most speed. And then the boat being towed just has to draw 1 extra beast for that new area. So it's actually a pretty manageable way. There's certain places in the map that things get pretty tight. So like there's a spot kind of like, I don't know how well this is going to show up, but there's a really tight kind of like pass through here that would be pretty tough. Obviously you would trigger stalking beasts if you went through there at the same time. But with the towing rope, it's kind of almost like makes you one boat just for one sail phase. So after that sail phase that you guys do the towing, then it would discard that towing rope. And similarly, there's some other stuff. So oars are were something I wanted to add to the game for a while. Something that can manipulate the speed of your boat a little bit, give you a little bit more agency to when you're out on the waters and you're taking on damage. But you really need that 1 extra speed this round. So with the oar, you're going to be able to use a move action to activate that oar. So basically be like this oar would be a token on your ready area, similar to your ranged weapons. And then you would use a move action, place it onto the board, and flip it onto its, or you wouldn't flip it right away, but then that will be your trigger for when you go into the next sail phase, that you would get a +1 speed to your boat to use. And then after you use that speed, you're going to flip that oar over to its damaged side. And then that means you can only use it 1 more time. Just because the oars, they're not super effective when you have beasts swarming your boat. So they're just going to get damaged right off, like right when you put them in the water. So they're kind of more of like when you need when you need the boost, you're going to use them. And then there's an extra shield. That one's pretty straightforward. That will help you replace a shield later. And then there's going to be runes of blessings. I think I talked through these last time as well, but I've only posted two rune types here, but there will be other runes of blessings that you'll discover through the campaign. That once you like unlock certain things within the campaign, whether they be new events or items, they're going to be things that are going to be available for your quick play as well. So as you expand in campaign, you can easily bring in like new players. Like if you're going to take this to like a family get together and you want to teach somebody how to slay some beasts, the idea is that you could jump into it pretty easily that way too, and guide them. But yeah, what do you guys think about the items? If you guys have other items, toss them in there. But yeah, I think that's kind of all we had for the player expansions. But do you guys have any other questions other than more ducks? Oh, Nilo's team otter. Yeah, otters would be pretty sweet. There's a there's a picture that somebody dropped into the Discord chat that it's like an otter with a shiv, like he's like swimming through the water with it. Oh, Amanda says Corey slowly unravels as he draws, saving the ducky for last. Yep. Yeah, it's ultimately going to be up to him. I can't. The pressure's too great for me to say no. um, yeah, let's see. I think we might do a shorter one just because I wasn't able to get that top down, um, camera working. But I will want to do a live stream later this week, whether it just be me or if I can get some other people involved too. Would love to show you guys these player expansions in action. Also on the horizon too, I think not in the next update, but maybe in the update after the next one, I'm going to try and show you some elements from the campaign. I just need to kind of polish up a couple of the cards to like actually be closer to what I want the final to look like. I have everything mapped out in like I have a tool called Millinote that kind of show like it's almost like a whiteboard, but on it's digital, so I can just kind of like slap images and everything on there. But I have like this like nest web of the whole campaign, so I'm trying to figure out what part of the campaign I'm gonna pull out and kind of show off a little bit with some of the events and other things. But let's see. Oh, we got some. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Corey's insanity with these beasts. I don't think I've drove him insane yet. He just keeps asking for more. So maybe he's already insane and just loves the beasts too much. I sent him like the preliminary list like over a week ago of like what we've unlocked so far, and I need to send him the next list, which is almost double what I last sent him. What I think we're at 12 beasts unlocked right now. I think it's 12. And then I think we're at 16 stretch goals that we've unlocked already, which is crazy. So this has been tons of fun, but man, it's my computer is feeling the stress of working it overtime. I think I've crashed like my Illustrator files so many times because that stretch goals page is just so massive now. I've had to break it up into different files. But yeah, I think we'll call it good for today. And if you guys have more questions about the player expansions, we can toss those out there and talk about it in the Discord or on the Kickstarter comment section, or in the live stream we do later this week too. Happy to talk about it more. Um, oh, Jester just sent another one. Let's see. Could be a fun mechanic for an event cards. Doldrums. Boat speed is reduced to 0 for 1 turn as the wind cease, mitigated by the use of the ore token. That's interesting. I like that. Um, Urban actions. Hello. If I understand, will fetching your weapon from another boat require multiple move actions? Oh, that's a good question. So I do have that accounted for in the ranged weapons recovery. So if you do have to recover your ranged weapon from within a melee range, after you throw it out to the other boat, you're gonna roll the fog die, and then that's gonna be the location around your boat that it floats back to. So that way you can still recover it. That may change and get tweaked a little bit because that's one that I see opportunity for it to still be floating out at the other boat. So I wanted to play with it a bit, but for now it's gonna float back and be able to be picked up around your boat. Eric's asking, hey Eric, you could have a card in the shallows that brings a flock of ducks, and a beast gets distracted and goes for all the ducks. Okay, yeah, duck decoys. I can see that. I can see that. That's that's the best idea for that card so far. I think. I think it's better than trying to slay a bunch of ducks at least. Um, but yeah. All right, guys. Well, I love hanging out with you guys. These are pretty fun, pretty easy. If you have topics that you want to dive into on the next stream, let me know. I'll probably do something like this for the campaign as well, just to talk through it in more detail. But hey, Andrew. Um, but yeah, I think we'll chat soon, and yeah, I'll let you guys know when I'm going to do the next live stream. Thanks for being here. So farewell.